We had two returns last night, one expected, one unexpected, and Seth Rollins got a new statue, and plus the Brooklyn fans shitting all over the Divas once again. Well, what exactly happened on Monday Night Raw? Well, you're about to find out on the Monday Night Raw review powered by Google Hangouts. Prepare to work.
Hey, this is Purple Haze, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Greetings, everyone. You have warped your way in from the tubes of you into another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer. Today is August 25th, 2015, and what we're going to be doing on this video right here, guys, is talking about Monday Night Raw from last night. And definitely got a lot to talk about, especially when it pertains to everything that happened here. And some good, some bad, and sometimes when the WWE gets in front of an IWC heavy crowd, you're just like, ugh. Anyway, guys and gals, joining me on the Raw review this week, first off, he is the host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio this week. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Rick Head. Rick, how you doing?
Well, you know what, I'm doing all right. And, folks, if you are tired of the PG era from WWE, head on over to HWR, because we say screw the pipe bombs, and we drop plenty of F-bombs. So, kids, beware.
Yeah, you definitely do, especially when you're on here, too. Anyway, guys, I'm not even going to stop you from that. Also, ladies and gentlemen, our resident music mogul is here from YouTube.com/LanceMossTV. He is the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, how you doing?
Happy birthday, dear Vin Man.
Yep, yes, and ladies and gentlemen, as I said on yesterday's video, it was Vince McMahon's birthday. You know, we did wish him happy birthday on that, and they actually did sing it, but that was towards like the finale of Monday Night Raw. But let's get to the opening of Monday Night Raw, which kind of leads me to ask this question. Now, I already knew that we're in Brooklyn territory, which is basically Brock Lesnar territory. You know, and of course, it would come out to kind of respond to what happened with at SummerSlam between him and the Undertaker, and of course, with it being an IWC Pro heavy crowd, they were going to agree with them no matter what. And then they would send Bo Dallas out there to basically just get annihilated by Brock Lesnar over and over again, and it just leaves me wondering this question, Rick. I want to ask you this question: Brock Lesnar, face or heel?
I think right now he's more of what the wrestling fans call the tweener. I don't think he's either one, because obviously the fans are obviously behind him, so he's getting a pop from the fans just by the Suplex City. And also, if I may say something, last night, you know, they tried calling out the Undertaker, and everybody knew that the old man was not going to be stumbling down the ring.
Lance, let me ask you that very same question from your perspective, your opinion. Brock Lesnar, face or heel?
Like Rick said, it's but in between. Somebody has a phone call, but be pro. Some people are going to be against. Like in the smart markets, he's going to get cheered. The pro WWE crowds, he's going to get booed. It's just the reality of wrestling fans nowadays.
All right. Well, don't make mention of Booker T's promotion, because he would probably have something to say about that. You know, the reality of wrestling in Houston, Texas.
And again, his brother would have something to say about championship belts getting stolen.
Oh boy. Yeah, and it happened in Louisiana territory, too, believe it or not. Anyway, opening match of Monday Night Raw this week, it featured the New Day against the Lucha Dragons, with the primetime players once again on commentary. Why they're on commentary so much? My best basically to out-entertain JBL, who's just basically as stale as 3-week-old bread. The matchup wasn't too much to talk about. New Day would hit the midnight hour on Calisto, but if you guys remember on the onset of the review, when I said there were two returns, one unexpected, this one actually threw me for a curve, Rick. The return of those damn Dudleys.
3D, you know, I have to admit, last night I was not paying attention. I saw the pyro, and I'm like, who the hell is that? And then all of a sudden, 3D, I marked the fuck out. And just great to see the Dudley's back. And we discussed this last night on the HWR Raw Reaction. And we said how it seems that the funny that when they were over on TNA, they never got that same pop. Now the Hardys are over on TNA, and they're not getting anything. You can imagine what would happen if the Hardys came back to the WWE, what kind of a pop they would get.
Lance, do you think it's only a matter of time before that might happen?
The only thing is, I don't know their contract situations, but about the Dudleys, oh, my brother, testify.
Yeah, and Xavier Woods got a little wood last night, courtesy of the 3D through the table from the Dudley Boys. I'm so used to calling them Team 3D from their time in TNA. But
Sick bastard.
Anyway, one of the things that I posted during my coverage last night, because I cover on Blogger, Tumblr, Facebook, and one of the posts I said, when I found out they were doing a rematch between Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose and the Wyatt family, is what was the point of doing it if we just had it at SummerSlam? Well, that point became very well known when we get the introduction of a new member of the Wyatt family. A lot of people possibly expecting Eric Rowan to come back, but this wasn't Eric Rowan. Rick, who was this guy?
His name was, if I'm pronouncing right, Braun Strowman, and he is actually a true strongman. He's been in many, many competitions, even in the Arnold Schwarzenegger strongman competition. So he's won many, many awards. Again, this is another subject we talked about last night over on our HWR Raw Reaction. And it seems that we question how he seems a pair green, because I guess he, despite the fact that he was in TNA, in NXT for only 2 months, non-televised, but we also found out that he was also a Rosebud.
Oh, really?
Yes, he was. So, but it leaves the question, despite how he was so dominating, what is this guy's longevity once the Wyatt family split up again?
Yeah, that's the thing, and not only that, I would like to know more about his background. I mean, how much training, how many years under his belt does he have being a professional wrestler? Because being
2 months.
That's it.
I think something like that. It's like 2 months to 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. I'm not. Forgive me on that one, but it's not long, and he's only been with NXT. I think it's 2 months. It is 2 months.
Thanks again, Vin Man.
Yeah, so this guy is very, very green.
Yeah, kind of like Mason Ryan green when they brought him in for, I believe, wasn't that with the Nexus, I think?
Correct. And you know what? I actually didn't have a problem with Mason Ryan. I think his biggest issue, I know we're getting off track a little bit, was the fact that he looked too much like a Batista lookalike. And yeah. I think that's what really hurt him.
Anyway, MizTV would be up next with the Team PCB, which would lead to a match between Team Bella and Team PCB. And this is one of the things I was talking about, the reasons why I made mention of the fact that whenever WWE gets in front of an IWC crowd, they take the shit out of anything they don't like. Now, don't get me wrong. They have the right to do whatever they want in front of the crowd. In front of the when they're at the shows, if they want to piss on someone, they want to cheer someone, that is their right to do it. As is my right to criticize and get absolutely aggravated and irritated with those actions. Now, they have the right to do them, as I have the right to be aggravated with it. Okay? I just want to make sure I got that point clear. That they have the right to do whatever they want at the shows, as I have the right to have an opinion about it. And my opinion is they are full of crap. Because of the fact that I didn't think the matchup was that bad. I thought Charlotte took too much heat in that six-man tag. And again, Alicia hitting the axe kick on Paige. They were doing the fucking wave during the whole Six Divas tag match, and we've complained, especially for guys like us who go on the internet and voice our opinions about WWE needing to step up the Divas talent. And when they brought the NXT Divas, it made it so much better. And then one match, and now all of a sudden that IWC Pro Heavy crowd, Rick, just turned on them.
Well, for one thing, I have to kind of agree with the IWC, because the problem was not necessarily the quality of the match, but how long the match was. The match was good. It should have went for 5 minutes, but after that, even I am like, okay, this is stale. And no disrespect to the Divas themselves, because, yes, since the Diva Revolution has started, they have upped their game, and they have been great. But you know what? It doesn't matter how great you get your game. When you have a lousy match that goes on for so long, you just want to fall asleep. You want to go take a piss. You want to go up to the stands and get a drink. That's just the way it is. I don't care if that was Sting versus The Undertaker. Same thing would probably happen. Well, okay, maybe I'm going a little farther on that one, but still. And also, I'd like to point out that during the match, I believe Charlotte was injured because when Nikki did that leg whip up against the post, if you noticed, Charlotte was down on the apron the entire time and even after the show. I really think she's injured.
Well, hopefully we can find out something soon about that. Now, we were scheduled to have a match. I don't know who Neville's partner was going to be, but it was going to be Stardust teaming up with King Barrett to take on Neville and somebody. And what had happened was Stardust attacks King Barrett, and I still would like to know where this thing is going. And then there would be a confrontation between Stardust and Neville when Neville got the better of him and Stardust took off.
Well,
Well, go ahead, Rick.
Well, sorry. If I may interject, I think the thing is what they're trying to do is two things. One is start a feud between Stardust and King Barrett, and I could also see them trying to flip King Barrett as well, which they want to bring him back to Bad News Barrett.
Yeah, exactly, because, one of the things I've been saying for weeks on here is that the King Barrett gimmick is it's done more harm than good for Wade Barrett, and the Bad News Barrett gimmick was the thing that got him over in the first place. So they need to go back to that, because that was the thing that Wade Barrett was doing beautifully, the Bad News Barrett gimmick. King Barrett has just been, it's like whoever gets the King of the Ring title as an elite, it's just, that's almost a signal that your career is over. So
I wouldn't say over. I think more just going through a dry spell, because it happened with Sheamus as well, and just they should realize they just need to get rid of it altogether and just put it in the Hall of Fame.
And they need to realize one other thing. Nowadays, there's one king in WWE, and he sits at the announce table.
And a lot of fans want to see him back on Monday Night Raw.
Me, myself, being one of them.
But, I wonder if that was more of his choice than WWE's choice. A lot of the internet says it wasn't his choice, but a lot of people may not know this, but he actually does a lot of indie wrestling still to this day.
He does.
So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he wants that time off to wrestle and recuperate.
It's quite possible.
And get freaky dicky with his 20-something-year-old girlfriend. Yes, Jerry Lawler is dating a mid-20-year-old.
You better have
30-year-old
plenty of heart.
king.
You better have plenty of heart medication on hand for that. Following that, for some odd reason, they wanted to have Jon Stewart out there. Jon Stewart, host of the Daily Show, to come out and answer, give an answer as to why he did what he did, and it said supposedly he wanted to protect Ric Flair's championship, 16-time championship run.
Woo!
And then Ric Flair actually came out. He was there on Monday Night Raw. Quick question: did he hit the minibar before he went out there?
I think he did, because his face was beat red.
But I think he was not completely trashed, just slightly toasted.
Well, before, Billy, you get on, we did have a poll over on HWR's page. We wanted to know if he was sober, buzz, trash, or I love you, Jon Stewart.
I think it might have been the last one. Anyway.
The last one was where he would have been dropping an elbow on his coat.
Oh yeah. But well, Jon Stewart could equally be a coat for Ric Flair. But anyway, Ric Flair came out and said he was actually respects John Cena. He was in full support. The IWC Pro crowd started booing that, and Ric Flair said, "Hey, God's talking here, and if you don't like it." Of course, that's one of his classic lines. If you don't like it, you better learn to love it. And that's a classic Ric Flair line right there. Then out would come John Cena, and of course the IWC crowd, for their own reasons whatsoever, they want to hate on John Cena. And like I said, if the IWC doesn't like my opinions, I got 2 words for them. Suck it. I don't know who greenlit the idea for them to do this with Jon Stewart. I don't know if it was Stewart himself or they came up to him. You know, you just got to imagine that they had this meeting in the back between the 2 guys. Like, okay, Stewart, you're going to go out there and you're going to take the most awkward-looking attitude adjustment that John Cena can give you and make John Cena look like a heel. And I guess it's safe to say in the IWC eyes, their eyes, that they view him as a heel because they don't like, even though they think John Cena has his foot on the pedal on creative, but again, John Cena is just one guy. WWE creative doesn't listen to one guy, okay, unless they're banging the boss's daughter. But that's a story for another day and another time.
Mm-hmm.
Can somebody come answer this? And I know Lance is chomping at the bit to say something about that.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, but basically, you know, that's pretty much what happened. Now, I don't know if maybe a little bit of crank was showing. I don't know. When it comes to selling, John Stewart is better at selling jokes than selling wrestling moves. And there were a lot of people on Facebook that I saw this morning, Lance. They were even criticizing what he did at SummerSlam, not for the fact that he did it against John Cena, is the fact that he screwed up and actually, basically, he was aiming so much at John Cena, everybody knew that he was going to go to John Cena. He basically botched the swerve that he was supposed to do.
Yeah. Yes, he did. I mean, I was like, some bitches, he's overselling. Now, about a few things that you have said. John Cena does not have a pull in the back.
I didn't say. I said he had. He doesn't.
No. How come how come Nikki has had the damn women's title for almost a year? She ain't that damn good.
The only thing I'm going to say is I'm going to reference the NXT photo that the fan had about Finn Balor.
Okay, and also, you said John Cena's not heel or what? He is, in my eyes.
No, in the IWC's eyes.
Yeah. But in my eyes, he's a heel with an annoying babyface gimmick. That's how I see it.
Well, like I said, you know, that's one of the things you got to like about what we do on WGS-TV and HWR. There are so many different varying opinions that are welcome on here, unlike with some other people's channels and podcasts. They only accept one opinion, and that's theirs. But this is open forum. Everyone's allowed to have their opinions when it comes to various topics, whether it be wrestling or video games on here. Now, we may not agree with that, but we also act civil on here, which apparently a lot of people in the IWC don't act civil. But anyway, enough of that. Let's go into the 8-man tag. Randy Orton, Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler, and Ryback taking on Rusev, Kevin Owens, Big Show, and Sheamus. First thing I want to say is, again, I approve of Lana's new outfit. By the way, show of hands, how many people like Lana's new outfit? I think that counts for all of us.
I do, considering I don't have my webcam active.
Rick, I'll put a hand up for you, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. It was a decent 8-man tag with an unusual post-match activity. Well, let me get to the finish. It was basically a Big Show with a miscue hitting the KO punch on Sheamus, which would lead into the Randy Orton RKO, allowing his team to pick up the win. And then Kevin Owens and Rusev would turn on Big Show, left him high and dry, and possibly one of the most unique versions of the RKO I have ever seen. It was basically with help from Cesaro and Ryback lifting Big Show, and I gotta say, that is a load no matter who you are. And they transitioned that into a Randy Orton RKO. Rick, I was just sitting back looking at that like, wow.
Yeah, that was a good spot, but I think right now, Big Show, unfortunately, he, switches back and forth like a pendulum on a clock. One minute he's a heel, next minute he's a face, next minute he's a heel, next minute he's a face. And the reason why I think he got beat down the way he did is because he's made it very public before SummerSlam that he plans on going to a part-time status.
Maybe possibly he can't go on the full-time schedule that he used to. I mean, the guy's getting up there in age.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much what it is. He's just said, hey, look, I just can't do this anymore, and I just want to relax and smell the roses a little bit. And, he's put his time in, and I think that's what it is. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see John Cena getting to that stage in a couple of years.
Well, with all due respect to Big Show, John Cena is on a different physical level than Big Show is. I mean, he doesn't have to carry like a 7 foot, 400 some odd pounds.
Yeah, this is true, but I'm going to tell you right now, John Cena has been a heavily active wrestler, not just on screen but off screen, doing movies, charity work, and I think it's just to the point where he's going to be like, hey, look, once he hit his 40s, 5, maybe 10 years in between, he's going to go to part-time status. Doesn't matter your health. You just want to, earn your stripes and take a backseat.
And let's not forget how many severe injuries he's had.
Exactly.
Screwed up ankles, a broken freaking neck.
That mutant life form that was growing on his elbow.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that? It was like
it was a staff protruding.
Yeah, but that thing was protruding out.
Yeah.
And his nose, where he had to have Nikki Bella's doctor go in and reconstruct it.
All right, but anyway, to the finale of Monday Night Raw, the supposed statue unveiling of Seth Rollins. That's one thing that really pissed off a lot of people on Facebook. I saw this morning that, what did Seth Rollins do to earn a statue? He's not Ultimate Warrior. He's not Andre. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. But you kind of figured it was playing up to an angle, which kind of leads to two things. One, what I said about the expected return, and two, it kind of makes sense to the T-shirt that I'm wearing for today's Monday Night Raw review. If you guys can see the return of Sting, and this was kind of, I guess this was like the cat was let out of the bag by a lot of people in the IWC that Sting was coming back the night after SummerSlam, and now they're going to have him go against Seth Rollins because apparently after Monday Night Raw there was like a special where Triple H made the announcement that at Night of Champions Seth Rollins will take on Sting for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Sidebar on this, because this is just something that just came to my head, Rick, and I want to get your opinion on it. Rollins is now a double champion. He is now the WWE World Heavyweight Champion and the United States Heavyweight Champion. Now, in the past, whenever a champion loses his title, he has a rematch clause that he can exercise at any point in time. Now, the reason I bring this up is that even though John Cena did not win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, he lost the United States Heavyweight Championship. Now, is it possible that the angle they could do for Night of Champions is not only will Sting face Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but is it possible for them to have John Cena exercise his rematch clause for the United States Heavyweight Championship against Seth Rollins at the very same pay-per-view?
That is possible. Usually, I thought when you had two titles, you had to relinquish one, especially the singles titles. I would like to see. That's a very strong possibility because Seth Rollins, whether people like him or not, that man is a worker. And here's a little bit of trivia for you. Since Seth Rollins debuted on Raw, he has worked every single Raw and most of the SmackDowns without a break. That is what you call a dedication. That's something that John Cena hasn't done. He has a higher record of appearances, consistent appearances, than John Cena. And I would like to personally, as far as the U.S. title, what I would like to see is to have him relinquish the title next Monday on Raw and then start a tournament where the final will, of course, happen at Night of Champions.
And And also another little bit of trivia, because Seth Rollins has not been the first singles champion to hold two different belts. And I'm not talking about, one person being a singles champion and holding a tag team title. There's been one other person. Well, I'm going to say two people, because one was in the World Wrestling Federation, and the other one was in WCW. Now, the one in WCW, the way that Rick described it, the moment actually happened, and I'm talking about when then WCW United States Heavyweight Champion Bill Goldberg defeated Hollywood Hogan for the WCW World Heavyweight Champion. He would go on to reign as the champion, but he ended up having to relinquish the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. The World Wrestling Federation won the first double champion ever. The first guy to hold two singles titles at the same time was Shawn Michaels, when he won the World Wrestling Federation Championship and the now defunct European Championship.
Well, if I may interrupt, there is actually more than two. There's three. You forgot Ultimate Warrior, who had the United States Champion. I'm sorry, the Intercontinental Champion and the WWF Champion at WrestleMania 6.
And then that rule that you talked about, where he had to relinquish the Intercontinental Championship, also had to apply. So I do apologize, but as far as reigning as a double champion, Shawn Michaels was the first one to do it in the company. He didn't have to relinquish one of his titles. He was able to run with that, and then of course you guys remember how the whole thing they did with DX and how they put the title on the European Championship on Triple H.
The original finger poke of doom, I might add.
Yeah, the original finger poke of doom. But
another thing, again, we were talking about multiple two champions who was able to hold two titles at the same time. Let's not forget, there was the WWE title and there was the World title that for many, many times they were considering holding it. There was times where they were called the Undisputed Champion, but Chris Jericho, before he became the Undisputed, held both titles.
Yeah, definitely. But anyway, guys and gals, enough rambling about the past. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw and our overall scores and our picks for best and worst match or segment on Monday Night Raw, the fallout from SummerSlam. This was kind of a mixed bag of a show, in my personal opinion. There were a lot of good, bright spots in my mind. Of course, the return of the Dudley Boys, I don't think anybody saw coming. That was good on WWE's part. We kind of expected Sting to come back. It was, like I said, a little bit of a mixed bag of a show. As far as best match, given what we have, since we only had 4 matches, I'm going to go to the 8-man tag, and a lot of credit to the post-match activity with that amazing RKO. Worst segment, and it's not I have to call out Jon Stewart. Based on the fact that, again, the guy is better at selling jokes than he is at selling a wrestling move, and he just really did not sell that AA very well, in my personal opinion. But anyway, Monday Night Raw is going to get a 3.25 out of 5, and I'm being generous about that. Anyway, let's go to Rick and get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week.
Well, I will agree with you that it was a bit of a mixed bag. The high spots, obviously, 3D coming back, Sting coming back, and you know what? That Braun Strowman guy, that was a bit of a high. I wouldn't consider a high point, but was one of the better points of the night. There were so many stale points. Even in the final segment before the unveiling of Sting, Seth Rollins went on and on and on and on. It was just a dry. Same thing with the Divas match. Yeah, there were some great spots, so it was a decent match, but after the 5 or 6 minute mark, I was falling asleep. So, and that's something that Paige just has to accept, that, hey, we have a right, and especially after a certain amount of time, you're going to get bored. The Jon Stewart thing, yeah, I understand why it had to be done, and the fact that you don't think he can sell a move, he sells it better than moves than Paige does, because Paige can't sell a peanut. She's a great wrestler, but her moves, if you watch, every time she gets hit, she goes down, she pops back up like 5 minutes later. Not even, or 5 seconds later.
Doesn't Brock Lesnar do the same thing?
All right, then. But, I think that proves our point that, you can't always blame a celebrity for not being able to sell a move when there's wrestlers, seasoned wrestlers, who can't.
And your overall score was?
I gotta give it a 2.75, and I'll say this: it was far better than the Go Home show overall, because that one sucked.
And finally, let's go to Lance to get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week. Lance?
Overall, I'll give it a solid 3, somewhere in between y'all. Best match, I gotta give it to the Wyatt family versus the former Shield members, because good action, one hell of a surprise at the end. Only thing that I actually quite enjoyed is Dolph's new look in the main event, but that's just personally. And worst, I gotta give it to worst segment. I gotta give it to the New Days singing "New York, New York."
Oh.
I forgot all about that.
I wish.
And not only that, Xavier Woods came out with a trombone.
Yeah.
Like, what was up with that? But anyway, I don't think I heard your overall score.
3.
All right, guys and gals, on that note, we want to know from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Monday Night Raw this week. What are your overall scores? And somebody's farting behind me.
I didn't do it.
What are your picks for best
Wasn't
and
me.
worst? No, there's somebody else in here that's just looking at me and laughing. Your picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week. We want to know what you guys out there have to say. Be sure to put your comments in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit that like button. Rick, where can fans check you out on HWR?
Of course, they can always find us over at Facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. And please take a few seconds to head over to YouTube.com/HWR Show, where we have movie reviews, my phone ringing, we have Raw reviews and everything else, and of course, we are a fat-free area.
And Lance, what can fans expect to see when they come visit your channel over on YouTube.com/LanceMossTV?
I got album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, redneck gourmet cooking videos, musical equipment reviews, and I also go live every Wednesday. This Wednesday is going to be 7 p.m. Central, and check me out on there, and I will on Twitter. It's at LanceMossTV, and hit me up on, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see y'all later.
No, guys, WGS-TV is on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. The links are in the description box below. And don't forget, there will be 2 videos in the annotations at the end of this video for you guys to check out as well. So with that being said, for the hardcore host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, Rick Head, and the incomparable Lance Moss, Lance Moss TV, I'm the Wrestle Gamer. Don't be available, Joe, saying we'll see you at the next work zone.
God. Express their love for each other physically. What unreserved and certain words. I felt like I could.
You have that kind of familiarity. I can't talk today.
Familiarity?
Yeah, thank you. Like, again, the words are there, my lips are blocking. Whenever you have that with 2 guys.